Today, I'm with Danny Wolf of Wild Wolf Brewing Company, and they just won some awards.
Yeah, so we've won the Virginia Green Brewery of the Year award again for the third year running. And we also got the Virginia Governor's Gold Medal Award for Environmental Excellence.
Wow.
So that was the first for us this year. We're very proud of it.
Very, very nice. How do you keep everything eco-friendly and sustainable here?
Well, it all started with brewing. One of the biggest, or the biggest waste product from brewing, well, the two biggest is wastewater and then our spent grains. So we found a local farmer to take the spent grains and feed them to his cattle. Instead of paying somebody to take them away, he takes them away for free. And then we also treat all our own wastewater here. So it kind of started with that. From the spent grain, we started to buy the cattle back from him and use them in the restaurant. And from there we just did a whole bunch of things like add in the hop yard and the chickens in the hop yard, add composting into the back for all the kitchen scraps and our spent yeast. We've added many raised beds in the back. We've just got about 30 different herb plants into the ground this year for use in the kitchen next year. So every year we try to do a little bit more and more and more and more. I think this year we're really focusing on LED lighting, getting rid of plastic straws and forks and utensils. And then we're also taking all the kind of weird things that people don't think about, like your food prep gloves, the sanitary gloves. We use them in the brewery as well. We found a company that'll recycle those.
Nice.
And then like all the shrink wrap and all the backside to label papers, all these small things, we're slowly finding companies that can take them and recycle them for us. We're already considered a zero waste facility, but for that 0.5 or smaller percent that actually is going into the trash, we're trying to make that go away in the end as well. We package all of our beer into either refillable or recyclable containers. So we'll fill growlers for you at the bar. We can also fill kegs and send them to restaurants. Both of those containers are reusable in the end. Cans are also infinitely recyclable. Glass, you need to add a significant amount of energy in to melt it down, and a significant amount of new material for it to be good glass. Aluminum is recyclable over and over and over and over and over again for like a thousandth the cost. Hauling 100 bottles in a trash bag to the trash can versus hauling 100 pre-compacted cans, you could probably haul about 5,000 compacted cans for the same space and weight as 100 to 200 bottles.
Wow.
So easier to clean up, protects the beer better, and it is, you can't have bottles, but with cans it's something that you can walk around with. It's a package in and of itself, so that's nice. It also protects the beer better from light and oxygen.
What kind of effect does it have on the taste of the beer?
So a lot of people from a long time ago think that cans aren't as good because a while ago they weren't as good. The fact that pretty much every good craft brewery today is putting their product into a can should be clear evidence that the cans do not impact the flavor at all. There's a good liner on the inside that keeps the beer from ever contacting any actual metal. And if you drink directly from the can and you think that changes the flavor, it does, because it's hitting your taste buds at a different point. So try pouring it into a glass. So this is the hop yard. We have about 350 cascade plants in the ground. You can see they're taking off really nicely, and we're going to start to string them onto these bines counterclockwise, and they'll go all the way to the top within about a month and start to flower then. They eat bugs, so we don't have to spray any pesticides. They fertilize. And then we also get eggs from them that we can use in the kitchen. They'll help with pest control, but then also if something comes to attack the chickens, once they're out with the chickens, they'll defend the chickens from hawks and raccoons and possums and all that. Every year we try to expand things just a little bit. You can see on the other side we've added herbs in this year. So next year we'll continue to add more and more and more and more in. But this is all kale for the restaurant and broccoli. And then we've got some amazing looking garlic going as well down this way. We're standing in the middle of the original high school in Nelson County. There's a well pump out by the goldfish pond. That's the original water pump. And it's still functional.
Sweet.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. And then there's your bucket of stuff,
Yep,
right?
there's our compost there, right by the prep station. So we're able to do breads in-house and many other things as well in the bake shop back here. It's also kind of chef's office. Tanks 1 through 6 and 7 through 12 here. 1 through 6 are fermenters and 7 through 12 are bright tanks, finishing tanks, but then they also directly pour to the bar. We've added 13 in after that so that we didn't have to take a beer off draft to put it in the keg. But when we added 13, we added some big tanks.
And you mentioned that your water is really on site here.
Everything's on site, so we have a well. It's actually located right behind us in that building. And then in this back field area here, we have about 2 or 3 acres of drain field and water treatment tanks, several like 1,000 and 1,500 gallon tanks buried in the ground. And that takes care of all of our wastewater from the restaurant and the brewery.
Wow. Well, Danny, I really appreciate all of your time today, of the tour and all of the information you provided for us. You really are setting the bar very high for everyone else here in Virginia and across the nation. A really great example. And I really like the slogan of pack it in, pack it out, and leave only paw prints. Isn't that great? Thank you so much.